Here's Jeff Paterson. He'll be at the game, albeit inside the arena, covering the Vancouver Canucks as he does for us. And, of course, as the host of RinkWide Vancouver post-game show. Had another one on Friday. Hi, Jeff. How goes?
Good. I heard you guys talking about Uber Eats there, and I was thinking to myself, we use Uber Eats here at the Paterson household so often that we're thinking of having a few of the drivers over for Thanksgiving dinner, like not to
nice.
deliver the dinner, but just to share in the. We feel like we know them all now, so
they become family friends, exactly. Right? They're there so often.
Nate Bargatze's got a bit where he orders from two different companies, and the two drivers are meeting on the front stoop, and they're like, "Are you delivering to this?" Yeah, I am too. It can become a little bit too
I don't
easy.
know why you need anything beyond Uber Eats, Blake.
It's true.
Jeff, you took in the weekend that was the preseason game on Friday, and then, of course, a Sunday skate that was notable by who was absent. We're going to get into Braden Coots here, but first, update everyone if they missed anything over the Canucks weekend.
Yeah, Friday was pretty much a dress rehearsal, although it didn't look like a regular season game. I thought it was pretty scrambly and sloppy, and the star power that was on the ice, more star power in the stands with Thomas Mueller and a few of the Dallas Mavericks in attendance as well. It wasn't a great night for McDavid. Draisaitl scored a goal. EP40. We're all still basking in the one-timer in Calgary because he didn't really follow up with a whole lot on Friday. Quinn was dialed and dealing, but really it was about Jonathan Lekkerimäki and Braden Coots. And Connor Garland. Hey, they won in overtime, something they didn't do nearly enough of last year. So, we talked on Friday about who was in the lineup, who wasn't in the lineup. What did that all mean? Now here we are 72 hours later. And yeah, I mean, you get to a practice on Sunday, a day before roster setting, and anybody that's on the ice or not on the ice, you start to wonder, is this all related to setting that roster? Teddy Blueger finished the game on Friday night, but I know was getting medical attention after the game. Didn't skate on Sunday. He was out at UBC, but his leg was fairly heavily wrapped. And if you guys recall, 2 years ago, in his first season with the Canucks, he got injured in the final game of the preseason and missed the first 6 weeks. So fingers crossed for him that this is nothing major, but literally hours away now from playing for keeps on Thursday night. We'll know more when they get back to practice on Tuesday and Wednesday, his availability, but you do wonder if Teddy Blueger may not be able to go when the season starts. And then the two defensemen that have kind of gone missing in action here a little bit in both Derek Forbort and P.O. Joseph. Forbort was seen around UBC. I didn't put my own eyes on P.O. Joseph on Sunday, but I do wonder if there's going to be some roster manipulation here ahead of the drop of the puck. They set their lineup on Monday, or they set their roster on Monday, but in terms of guys that are actually available to them for the game on Thursday and then Saturday, look, if P.O. Joseph is still nursing a groin issue at that point, give him a week, put him on IR. You're not probably going to use him in game action anyhow if he's the eighth defenseman on this roster. And then that could buy you some time to bring up a Victor Mancini and have him on the roster and possibly plug him in. So I don't think people should get too worked up by what they see on Monday afternoon as the season opening roster for the Vancouver Canucks. It's more about who's on the ice, who's available here in the days ahead before the puck drops on Thursday night.
Those veteran defensemen have barely been on the ice here recently, Jeff. Mancini would be the guy that's actually been playing regularly here. I have to believe he's going to be back here for Thursday.
Yeah, now they've been pretty upfront that Forbort nursing something, but this is all load management. And Adam Foote himself said, this is about making sure that he's ready to go in game one. So I wasn't shocked that he wasn't on the ice on Sunday, but you're right. A veteran guy like that, you'd like him to get a couple of good solid skates in before game one of the season. P.O. Joseph had a decent camp. I didn't think he was terrific in the preseason action that he had. And then basically, it's a day off for them here on Monday. So it's going to be a week between skates for him if he's back on the ice on Tuesday. So, still a lot of moving parts for the Vancouver Canucks, but that's sort of par for the course at this time of the year. And I think it goes for a lot of teams around the National Hockey League. So, again, the roster will be set. But then we'll really start to dig in with when we take attendance at practice on Tuesday.
We've been ballyhooing the other defensemen here, looking more closely at Verlander and Mancini. But D-Petey, we were told, is the apple of their eye. He didn't really do much per se in this training camp. He didn't really wow us with anything that we hadn't seen before, but yet he's there. They clearly did have him in pen for opening night here.
Yeah, the 28 games that he played last year certainly did enough, I think, to sway the opinion of management and the coaching staff that this guy belongs to the National Hockey League. And then we saw, of course, that they didn't send him to Abbotsford for the run to the Calder Cup, but they didn't need him ultimately when they won the championship there. But just quietly has gone about his business. He's been physical in the preseason in the games that he has played. And I think a lot of attention was locked on the right side, even though he did slide over and play the right. But I'm talking about the right-handed guys and how all that would play out. He got his bell rung pretty good. Pods caught him there behind the net late in the second period, left the game. We found out afterwards it was the concussion spotter that wanted him to be checked out, but he was back in action in the third period. And, I was happy to see he was one of the first guys on the ice at UBC on Sunday, and that just told me that, completely clean bill of health here, that if there was any after effect, if he woke up on Saturday and, wasn't feeling well, or even on Sunday, whatever the case, they wouldn't have had him practice, but he looked eager. He wanted to practice, and he was out there. And so we had a chat with him afterwards, and he said that, no worse for wear, that it's part of the game, and that he got caught. He'll do that to other guys, but this time he was on the receiving end of, a stiff body check. It comes with the territory of a contact sport.
Is keeping Coots beyond the cuts this weekend related to that Blueger knee ailment, Jeff?
Yeah, I don't think that you can separate them entirely. That had Teddy Blueger been completely healthy here, I think he would be in your lineup. And then it's a question of, is it Coots over Ratu? Coots has done enough. We know the stories here. I haven't been on with you guys since Friday night. The Lekkerimaki goals were incredible, but the first one doesn't happen if Braden Coots doesn't outmuscle Matt Savoy, wins the battle in the slot, and is able to put the puck in Lekkerimäki's wheelhouse. And for all the other things that this kid has done through camp, there are still many people questioning his size. And we even talked the other day about it's a man's game and how's he going to measure up. I think it's those sorts of moments that really are going to resonate with the coaching staff as they try to make a decision on this guy. And so the way it's been trending for a little while now, not surprised that he's going to break camp here with the Vancouver Canucks. It's still, and it's kind of been this mantra about him earning another day. I still think it remains sort of in that boat, but, the next few days are going to lead to his NHL debut. How many games he gets in, I still think he's on the clock as far as the 9-game thing is concerned. And, that'll take you, and again, to be clear, it's 9 games that he participates in. It's not the first 9 games for the Vancouver Canucks. So, this can get them basically to the end of the month. At that point, you have regular season games to measure them by, bigger sample size of games that matter when everybody's in the lineup and everybody's hustling and all that kind of stuff. And then decisions will be made. But I still think long-term for his development, getting back to Seattle, dominating there, and seeing what he can do with one more year of junior hockey. And his Seattle Thunderbirds look like they could use him. They've been schooled here a bunch of times in the early going, so they're missing their captain, their leader, their best player. But for the here and now, he is a Vancouver Canuck. And I should mention as well, before we got going with his post-practice scrum yesterday, I presented to him that he has strong ties to the Seattle area, playing for the Thunderbirds, but he is an Alberta guy. So is it Blue Jays? Is it Mariners? And Matt, you'll be happy to know that he's on your side. And he looked at me and he said, Canadians.
He's got his priorities.
He said, right, Canadians. I said, yeah, but West Coast, man. Like, it can go either way here. But no, he said Blue Jays.
So we'll put you down for 9 games then on the poll question, Jeff. Your expectations for Coots? Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Now, I mean, an injury elsewhere in the lineup can certainly change that as we sit here right now. I still think that he's on a pitch count if we're talking baseball as far as games played here in the NHL. Not
that it necessarily matters, but do you think Jonathan Lekkerimaki forged his way onto this team with his goal scoring, that great shot and release that few on the team, if any, possess? Or do you think this was a situation of him taking advantage of Nils Höglander being hurt and a job available?
No, I think his second week. I mean, it started with the 6-on-5 goal in Edmonton, and we were all sort of jaws dropping that, that's how you execute a one-timer, and said, like, that's what this guy can do for this hockey club, and that's what he has to do. And then he backed it up with a strong performance, the 2 goals the other night. So, even before he scored, there was a foray up ice early in the hockey game. Vander Kane got him the puck in open ice, and he worked his way through the neutral zone and let a snapshot go in stride that Calvin Pickard had trouble with and sort of spilled a rebound. And it was a reminder, like, this guy does shoot it differently. Like, I mean, they can all shoot at this level, but Pickard had trouble making a clean save from distance. It didn't amount to much in that play, but, a lot of times that'll present a rebound for somebody else or for Lekkerimaki himself, whatever the case. So, it wasn't just the goals. The goals stand out. They're the highlights, but there were other moments in that hockey game where I thought, he put his skills on display and really away from the puck. I think he has brought his game up a notch too. And it looks like a guy that, learned from 24 games with mixed results in the National Hockey League last year, but he saw the NHL firsthand. He got a test and a taste of it all. And I think he understands that it can't just be goal scoring. He has to score goals. That's what he was drafted on, and that's what he is supposed to do here. But to make it and have a long career and a successful run in the National Hockey League, you got to be able to win your board battles. Rick Tocchet's not here anymore, but it still echoes in the halls of Rogers Arena, right? All those staples, and they may have new terminology for it this year with a new head coach, but it seems like he's taken heed of a lot of that, and his play away from the puck has been solid. It's been responsible. And not the biggest guy in the world, but seemed to be able to hold his own and win his share of battles there. So, I'd say it's sort of twofold. It's the things that he did on his own, plus the opportunity that was presented when Höglander went out. And we know that he's going to be gone for a while. So, hey, good on him. If he recognized an opportunity was knocking, he opened the door and barged on through.
And that's the long-term project, is to turn him into a full, well-rounded player. But for this season, Jeff, like, there's still going to be those foibles. I still think you need him around on the regular because of the separating skill that he has with that shot. And I wonder if power play 1, even if this doesn't work with Kane over on the left side, like whether he gets it off or not, it's going to get around the league pretty quickly. That's something that they have to respect. And if he's a distraction over on that side, then you got PD on the right. To me, it's he's got an NHL level skill right now. Even if he's not a full, well-rounded player yet, right?
Yeah, and we had a few submissions into the inbox the other night on RinkWide afterwards, kicked it around a little bit with Irv too, that you're right, like Evander Kane's there right now basically as a decoy, and he can use his size for puck retrievals. We've seen Connor Garland, who is sort of the king of the fake slap shot on the power play, but he's not really a shooting threat over there.
Right.
And again, he can help with entries, he can win you back some pucks and keep plays alive. But Lekkerimaki can grow into that side of things as well, but he might get you 5 goals over the course of the season just with the one-timer on that side. And you're right. If you got PD on one side and Lekkerimaki on the other, I mean, there's 2 one-time shooting threats on their off sides and Quinn at the top dealing. So, we've seen this before. I think back to when Quinn Hughes broke into the league and Alex Edler was the incumbent. I mean, we all knew that Quinn Hughes was going to grow into the role of the quarterback on the Canucks power play, but Travis Green was a little bit slow. And I think, you don't want to throw guys into the deep end right away. I think there is still sort of that carrot of earning opportunities, as archaic as maybe some of that thinking sounds. But veterans are veterans, and they've been at this for a while and shown that they can do it. Like, I don't know ultimately how the season will play out for Evander Kane on that power play. Like, I don't know. Jake DeBrusk got his 14 last year. You have to think that Elias Pettersson's going to be more productive. He's certainly hoping that he'll be more productive. Brock Besser with his contract, he needs to be a goal scorer for the Vancouver Canucks. And so, only one puck out there as they snap it around. Ultimately, it'll be interesting to sort of see where Evander Kane settles in, if it is Evander Kane or if they look at Garland. But if it's not going and they're trying to shake things up, then if Lekkermaki's here on the roster, you'd certainly think he'd be on the second power play unit.
Sure.
But a promotion could very well be in order before too long.
And Jeff, Surrey's Erstede Baines keeps on keeping on with the big club. We all wondered about his bid. You mentioned on Friday you thought he had to have a pretty good game, but here he is, still a Canuck.
Yeah, and good for him. I don't love, the 30,000 foot level looking down at this roster and seeing Archie Bains in the top 6 role with the Vancouver Canucks, but you've got Evander Kane who's knocking on the door. If Archie doesn't hold his own there, you certainly could promote Kane. Drew O'Connor could slide up. Linus Karlsson didn't do a whole lot to help his cause, but he's here too. And, he sort of swapped in and out with Bains at practice yesterday, but it definitely was Archie's spot on that line with Philip Hedel and Connor Garland. So, lines don't stay together over the course of a whole season, but if that's where he's going to start, is it his? Is he a placeholder? Does this management group have an eye on some sort of transaction to bring in another body somewhere? We'll see. But look, we've seen what Archie Bains can do at the American Hockey League level. We have seen, his Western Hockey League numbers speak for themselves. I maintain that this guy has figured it out at every level he's played. And the one thing that's missing from his resume is point production. If he's going to play in that slot, like, he can't just be to defer to Hedel and Garland all the time. There have to be some expectations. You hear me say it. I've said it so many times. You can't just wear the uniform. And I truly believe that if you're in the lineup and you're that high in the lineup, then there damn well better be a bottom line. I don't care who you are. So if that's where he starts on Thursday night, then, I'll give him an opportunity. But I would have to think he would recognize that he better do something with it, or there will be somebody else that's placed in that position.
It's an interesting choice because there's a lot of pressure on Philip Hedel to be a second-line center, and when you're giving him an AHL winger,
I almost want to see that Thursday before I believe it.
Yeah.
They're back on the ice tomorrow. We'll see what happens. As Jeff said, there could be some roster manipulation from here. I think Bains had some moments through this preseason and through this camp. Good moments, also some poor ones. We'll see. Lastly, Jeff, we're asking all our guests this week for their prediction on this Canucks season. Give me how many points and where you see them finishing relative to the division, if not conference.
Well, having been around this team through camp and really even going back to the summer skates in early September and now through the preseason, I can report to you that the vibes are high and the outside noise is low. And that's a nice starting point for the Vancouver Canucks, given all that they offered up last year in the way of dysfunction and sideshows. So, they seem to be in a pretty comfortable spot. I think optimism abounds in all 32 camps at this time of the year. So I'm not trying to read too much into the vibes, but we'll see how far the vibes ultimately can take them. But Quinn Hughes looks like he's in midseason form already. Thatcher Demko, I thought, had an exceptional preseason. Now, if they could get the high-priced guy in the middle to ramp things up, he can get away with a mediocre preseason. But Elias Paterson knows all eyes are going to be on him starting on Thursday night. So there's still that question there. But I will say this, that I do think that a healthy Thatcher Demko backed up by Kevin Lankinen certainly can change the conversation about what's possible for the Vancouver Canucks. They have to do better than 17 home ice wins. That was appalling last year. They owe it to their fan base, but they owe it to themselves if they're ultimately going to be a playoff team. They got to get that win total up into the low 20s at the very least. So, with Thatcher Demko, who played 23 games for them last year, if he could double that total, what does that do to the bottom line? The home ice record, if it's better, and if they don't lose 12 games in overtime, if they only lose 6 games in overtime, tack on a few more points here. I think 96 points is possible for this group. Again, with all they went through last year and arrived at 90, I certainly see a path to add to the totals here. I think goal scoring remains a challenge, but I think with goaltending and the defense core that they have built here, they can stay in games, they can win some low-scoring games. I'm going to say 96 points, and then you leave it to the hockey gods to see if that's enough to get you over the bar. I think 96 should get you into a wild card spot. So put me down for 96 points and a wild card spot for the Vancouver Canucks.
Okay, we sure will. And, of course, we'll be following on RinkWide all season long. Jeff and Irf have you covered. Tyson Cole going to sit in some as well. Post-game Thursday after the opener against the Flames, and we'll catch up Friday. Jeff, thanks for this.
I want playoff hockey because playoff hockey is fun. It should be fun for the players, certainly fun for the fans, and it's fun for guys like us as well to extend the season and digest even more meaningful hockey. So, yeah, I'm putting them above the playoff bar.